Chris, if you don't mind, I see your side of this. Like I said, I disagree, but I feel like this is going into a circular conversation where it's like, okay, this is my side, that's your side, and we steady going back and forth. I'm looking in the chat room. One guy's like, well, Naj is very naive. Well, I could be naive, or I could be right. We don't know. And then he says he's an agent. Just like an agent, I'm a regular motherfucker working, doing a talk show every week on here. Like, what type of shit is that to where we got, and I'm not talking about your show in particular. I'm talking about every show on talk show and things like that where you're talking to people who read a little more than the average person and have a little bit of enlightenment, like I feel like everybody on this call does. There's this level to where, okay, I don't agree with you, so you must be a fucking agent or like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that, man? You know what I'm saying? If we don't agree on everything, I'm a fucking agent? Like, come on, man.
Come on, Naj, I know you work for Soros, man.
If that's the case, that motherfucker ain't gave me nothing. I'm getting underpaid if that's the fucking case. Because I go to work. I got to work in the morning at 7 o'clock. What the hell? Shit. So it's just funny to me how the people everybody refers to as the sheeple can pretty much get along and figure out where they agree and where they disagree. But the people who feel like they're well-read and trying to figure out what this system is, what's going on in the world, the slightest fucking disagreement turns into, oh, I can't work with that motherfucker. So how do you ever plan on getting organized if everything is either or? Like, it's crazy to me, man.
Looks like Markus is on. What's going on, Mark?
What's up? How you doing?
What's up?
I had something happen, I think it was Saturday, and I want to prove to I'm the one who said that Naj is very naive. I think this is the same Naj that I talked about with Martin Luther King on Aaron Berg's broadcast. Is that correct?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Not too long ago, but I think it was this year. And I want to prove, because we're all good at, like, Googling stuff and finding stuff very quickly, and I'd like to pose a challenge to all those listening both live and to the replay of this. And I would like you to try to Google or Yahoo or Bing. This will kind of prove my point about naivete. I would like you to try to find a very big story that happened in my neck of the woods. I actually saw it happen, where a BMW, a brand new BMW, crashed through the window of my local bank. And I would like you to type in BMW, and I live in Quarryville, Pennsylvania, so type in Quarryville, crash through window, whatever. And the first person who can find me one single link of this huge news story that happened in my neck of the woods wins, well, absolutely nothing, just proves the point. Because I don't think you can find it. But give it a shot. It happened on Saturday. It collapsed part of the bank building. The roof fell down, all kinds of stuff. So the first person who can Google that, I would be very impressed, because I've looked and I can't find it. And the reason why that's important for this discussion is, like what Chris is saying, is that the media gives us our realities. Everything from Occupy Wall Street, 9/11, Oklahoma City, Pearl Harbor even, Holocaust, you name it, the media gives us our realities. And if you think that Occupy Wall Street was just co-opted, perhaps, you are incredibly naive. And I can give
But just your statement, though, that's the part I have a problem with. It's like, okay, you're saying...
Would you like me to sugarcoat it? I can sugarcoat it.
No.
I just like to get to the point.
Well, if you let me finish talking, I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. It's not the fact that the way you said it, it's just the idea that you'll say, okay, this way is the way it is. You're being naive by not understanding it when we both don't know the answer. This is our best guess, our best hypothesis. You're trying to present it as factual. That's the problem. I'm not. I'm saying this is what I think. You're saying this is what you know.
No, what I do is I talk about things that can't be. See, you can talk all day long about what could be, and you might be right and you might be wrong. But the things that we talk about typically on these calls is what can't be. And that's really hard to debunk. It's not impossible.
Well, it's not about debunking. It's about whether you have something that's factual or not. And you don't. You have something that's an opinion, just like I do. It's yours.
So you're saying it's an opinion that. So you're saying it's an opinion that the media gives us our realities. You think that's debatable?
I didn't say that. No.
Okay.
You know what question we were talking about when we were saying that? We were saying which way, chicken or egg. The question about those particular movements. Why they?
Right. You're saying okay. Well, if you've got H.G. Wells in the late 1800s predicting what's going to happen right on time, almost 100 years ago, I'm pretty much going to go with that. That probably means that it was chicken or egg, not chicken, or chicken, not egg. Because you've got that. You've got H.G. Wells. You've got people like Aldous Huxley and H.G. Wells and Jacques Ellul. And if you look into these people, they're Carol Quigley. They are the official historians for the elite who hide behind Freemasonry, which run our life. And if you look at what they talk about...
All I'm trying to say to you, man, is you're presenting evidence, not proof. There's a huge difference.
Well,
I understand this is what you believe. That's cool. That's your opinion. But like I said, you're presenting these things as factual. That's the problem. H.G. Wells, great writer. I get it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But you're using that as proof?
Well, I heard you
couldn't use that in a middle school bibliography. I mean...
Well, you see, I don't care about what school thinks, and I don't care what courts think, because they're run by the same people who own us. So I don't care about that. We have these discussions to see how we can sort of navigate through life and have a better life. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't do these calls to start movements because I know that's futile. There's no way. We're too unorganized to start a quote movement to defeat this hidden person that's controlling our life. So the second best thing for me is to talk about solutions on what we can do and what not to do, more importantly. And to me, ignoring Occupy Wall Street, ignoring the news, ignoring terrorism and all that kind of stuff is the way to go. But that's me.
Exactly.
And some people like to listen to what I have to say. Some people like to listen to what Chris has to say. So that's why we have these calls. But then we have people who call in who have disagreements, and then that distracts us from talking about solutions.
So if everybody's not in lockstep, then the conversation...
No, not at all. I think having all sorts of...
opinion.
I think of having all sorts of observations, not opinions, but observations are crucial for us to figure out solutions. But when I'm listening now for a half hour and it's, we'll agree to disagree, we'll agree to disagree,
right, because
you got to get to a point where it's like time to move on.
I mean, a better thing would have been next topic. But like I said, you're talking about the same thing right now. And you said usually you guys talk about nothing but solutions. Hey, if that's the case and I hijacked that, then that's my fault. If I slowed y'all down from talking about straight solutions, that's my fault. I obviously didn't know the show like that. But I would be interested in hearing some of these solutions that you have, man, since you have. I
just gave you the solutions. The simple solution for me, again, this is for me and no one else, is just do the opposite of what the perception of life is. If they tell you that cholesterol, for example, is bad for you, it probably means it's good for you. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that if you don't have enough cholesterol, you can't make babies, and you start to lose your hair prematurely. Now, we could be wrong about a few of these things. We could be totally bamboozled about a lot of these things. But for the most part, it's worked well for me that if they tell me to do this, and I do the opposite, it works really well.
Well, there you go, man. That's how you feel. Nothing wrong with that, man.
Well, do you disagree with that?
I just don't think in absolutes. For the most part, yes. Whatever they tell you is healthy. For the most part, yeah, it's probably not going to be healthy.
Right, and I don't talk in absolutes either. But if I have to make a 1-second decision about something because of a time constraint, and I know that quote the media, the education system, the United Nations, they're all tied together. I mean, there's numerous links that we can go over. When they tell me to do something, I'm going to, if I have 1 second to make a decision, I'm going to do I'm going to go run the other way.
Right,
now,
but the thing is, there's also the idea of having your own set of research, your own ideas about, okay, what is healthy? Let me try to figure out what is healthy on my own instead of just looking at differences from them. Because hell, you're starting at a bad place.
I'll have to disagree. I'll have to cordially disagree on that because you just said the word research.
Yeah.
And that means that the searching's been done for you already. Research.
Man,
so if you go online
if you want to play with words and play with definitions or whatever, we both know what we're talking about.
No, I don't.
Let's deal with it as a real person then. So if you want to say search for, then search for. Either way.
Yeah, but you can't. But all right, let me give you an example. Alex Jones. If you listen to Alex Jones, he'll say, if you want to look to see what happens at the Bilderberg meetings, go to Google and do the research for Bilderberg meetings. Well, guess who shows up?
Right.
What's that?
I said, and he's still alive. Yeah,
exactly.
I pay no attention to Alex.
But guess what happens? He is one of them. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And if you go type in Bilderberg, half of the sites show up for him. That's a trick.
Yeah,
a lot of people
don't. On that.
And a lot of people don't know how to do the research for themselves. I kept hearing that for about 6 years. You hear Alan Watt and all the rest of them, who I think Alan Watt's just brilliant. And he'll be like, I can't do the research for you. I can't do the thinking for you. Well, I'm a pretty sharp dude, and there's some things that I can't connect the dots with. And I would like some help on that. So when you say do the research yourself, I mean, that's a blanket statement that really doesn't mean anything.
No, it does mean something. It means figure out what it is you're trying to learn and roll with it.
Okay, I want to know.
I don't see how that's a complicated thing.
I want to know
if
there's really such a thing as AIDS or cancer. Let's say cancer. How would I research to find out if cancer is real? If it's a real threat, how would I go about that?
I would say go down to your local hospital, man.
Okay, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. The local hospital are the ones who push the idea that there's cancer. They drive BMWs because
that had cancer. Like my friend.
So you don't believe in cancer?
Huh?
You're not convinced of cancer, or that was just an example?
I'm not
convinced that cancer exists.
I haven't found a
cancer, Mark.
I'm not talking about how you contract it, because we could be all night on figuring out how you contract. I'm talking about that it exists. You're saying you're not sure if it exists. You would need.
No, I'm not sure. I quite frankly, again, going by the if they say it exists, it probably doesn't exist model. In my mind, it probably doesn't exist. It might be something else. It might be something through inoculations that they give us that causes cancer.
There we go. That sounds a little more.
Yeah.
I'm
totally off the hat, but when they tell us, if you have sex, unprotected sex, you will get AIDS. I really don't see any scientific, not statistical evidence, but scientific evidence that shows that that's true. None. When they tell us that smoking causes cancer, I actually have. I'll PayPal you $50. I've put that bet out for about 2 years now. I will PayPal you $50 right now. If you can give me one scientific source, double-blind study, that proves that smoking causes cancer. And I put that out. Not a single person has taken me up on that.
Why don't you take yourself up on it? Buy a pack every day, man. See what happens. If you don't believe that there's going to be some serious consequences from smoking what they sell you, I mean, hey, go ahead.
Well, how come George Burns was a 3-pack-a-day smoker, lived over 100? And how come everyone knows someone in their family who's done it?
In everything, there are anomalies. That doesn't mean that that's the standard. That doesn't mean that's just a good idea to do it. There are people who walk away from car crashes. Should you try to get in one?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Let's talk about car crash. Are airbags good for us? Are they safe for us? Because I know some people who work in the fire department who would argue that case.
That the suffocation and everything else is more
dangerous. Suffocation, broken bones, unnecessary injuries, and on and on.
So that makes a lot of sense.
What's that?
That does make a lot of sense.
Right. So, but we're told, we've been brainwashed that seatbelts and airbags are saving lives. And
but
my gut tells me that that's probably true.
How did we get into a conversation where I'm supposed to be on the side of representing the empire? I know those motherfuckers are.
I'm good like that, dude. I'll spin you in all kinds of directions.
No, you didn't spin me in a direction. That's the way you're framing the conversation. You're speaking.
No, but
saying,
what I'm trying to prove to you
that this is this. Prove to me that this is this. This is nonsense.
But that's my point. That's exactly my point. Is that you cannot prove something that's provable. It's much easier to prove something that's not possible. It's not impossible to disprove that, but it's a lot easier. I have very few people debunk the things that I say. But when I used to talk about predictions and what could be possible, it was very easy to debunk the things that I said. And I was naive, and I gave bad advice a long, long time ago. I said that tsunamis were going to hit the beach, and I scared the crap out of my wife, and that was Alex Jones' truth. Now that I have the opposite
So you had
position.
bad information, and now you're saying you have better information. So if you take yeah, that's what you'll come up with.
No.
Well, you
what
were
I'm
listening
saying
to
is,
Alex Jones then, so you were taking in bad information. Now
that is bad information, but now I have no information. I just talk about the things that cannot happen. A plane cannot go through a building on 9/11 and come out the other side with its nose intact. That is impossible.
Who's making?
Would you disagree with it?
Who's making an argument that it is? That's what I'm trying to get out of here.
Well, the news does. It shows us. It's Alex Jones says if you're
not
planer.
talking to the news. That's the thing. You're not talking to the news. This is like the worst straw man argument I've ever seen.
But you're quoting
the
news.
Sides from people who I definitely do not respect or represent, and using that as the basis for the conversation. That's crazy.
But you're quoting some of the things in the news. That's why I'm saying I don't think you can quote anything in the news as legit. That's what I'm trying to say.
It would have been a lot easier to just say that. I understand that that's how you feel. Nothing wrong with that, man. I think a lot slips through the cracks, man, that you don't know about. And I don't mean that you don't know about in the sense that you're not aware. I mean in the sense that you have your gatekeepers, you have your news, you have things set up in a certain way. If you got reporter X who doesn't know shit and doesn't know that a certain story is not supposed to come out or be framed in that way, and it comes out, it happens from time to time. I definitely think we get smidgens of real news out there.
I don't believe that for a New York second.
And there's nothing wrong with you not believing that.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
No,
man.
I don't see what you mean, but we'll go with it.
Well, okay, basically this.
But what's wrong with
I
having
just said
different
something
opinions? I mean, I think that's
you
what
didn't
makes
agree
this
with
show
it.
more interesting.
That's that.
I think it's more interesting that this show we have people that give different opinions or have different outlooks on things. How boring would it be if we all thought about the same thing? Granted, if one person thought their way of thinking was right or wrong, but I mean, it's not like we're on different teams here. You know what I'm saying?
Right, guys. Why doesn't Naj Radio enlighten us on what he believes is going on in life? Look, man, I'm not coming on here like I'm the one and I'm speaking down to people or some shit. I'm a regular dude having a regular conversation with people, and people seem to get real sensitive if you don't agree with what they're saying. And I just think that's kind of odd, man.
But you said you have your own talk show, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you talk about it on your talk show?
Why don't I talk about what?
The things that you like to talk about.
Dude, you act like I came on here and started the conversation. I just called into the show. They were
it's my fault. I started it.
I don't mind having different opinions on. I mean, it's kind of like it's a good opportunity to say.
That's amazing.
Because I'll defend anything that that my thought process is. If I can't have somebody that disagrees with me and have a discussion with them, then like what, it's like I don't have a problem with it at all. I invite that. I don't really have a problem with it. I mean,
Chris, what if you had someone who came on who was insistent that they were TI? Would you have a conversation with them?
Yeah, but those guys have a tendency to just never. You can't engage them in a conversation.
Right.
That's the problem that I have with them. Like right. If it would be one thing if I would ask them a question and then they would answer the question, I kind of like that. I like to have that going on in a conversation. But it's like you can't. It's like every one of them I've spoken to, you can't get them to do it. And but anybody that will they'll answer a question. I'll talk with them. I don't care, man. It's like if they disagree, yeah, that's fine. I don't, because because I take the position with myself that like, well, maybe there's something that somebody's going to kind of put out there that I haven't really considered before, or and then like that's how I end up changing my opinion. But I think it's healthy.
I do as well. Like I said, man, I came on just because I seen an interesting show on, came on, jumped on. I don't know why that's a problem. But like I said, if I'm ruining my man's night by being on here and stopping you from talking about all the solutions that you would have talked about, bro, like I don't get that, man. You still have your time and your way of explaining your solutions that you wanted to get out there. I'm not stopping you. I think you just disagree with me, and it bothers you for some reason really strongly that I think in a different way that you do.
No, it's that I've been. This isn't like my first turn at. I haven't jumped off the turnip truck, as they like to say. And when you hear, like for example with Chris, I think Chris and I agree on like probably 98% of the things that are ever discussed when we talk about any issue. Mm-hmm. He might have a agreement with me when it comes to spirituality, maybe a couple other things, but literally like 90, it's probably even higher than 98%. But then when you listen, and I just came on, I don't know, less than an hour. Let's see, I came on, I write stuff down, I'm kind of nuts like that, at 10:22. So it's been a little over an hour. And when I hear we'll have to disagree, we'll agree to disagree, we'll agree to disagree, we'll agree to disagree, it's just like, okay, either you really, for lack of sugarcoating, are naive about how life works, or you're purposely coming, and I don't think this is the case, but option two is that we have people who come on here and try to derail the things that we talk about. Yeah, I get really upset by that. It's not even my broadcast. And by the way, we don't like...
Just listen to yourself. It's either one or the other. Like, you're making that distinction, and you think that has some validity because you said it. That's ridiculous. Or I came on here, and I was talking to Chris, and the conversation was going, and neither one of us could convince the other one of the other's position, and we just left it at that.
But that's the thing. That's why I called in. That's why I called in, because it was like an hour, and you didn't leave it at that. It just was, we'll agree to disagree, we'll agree to disagree. That's all.
Because we kept bringing up new points.
In between that, we were talking about a lot of other different things. We were talking about what's going on in Somalia, talked about South America, talked about early America, miners' strike, talked about a lot of different things. You chose to hear this guy doesn't agree with my doctrine, therefore he is not legitimate. Fuck him. He doesn't agree with me. Which is a ridiculous idea, a way to conduct yourself, man.
I wasn't going to call in.
You go to a bar and talk to dudes, and if they don't fuck with the way you think, then y'all can't have a drink. Y'all can't fucking hang at the bar and talk to a woman or whatever. Like, how do you handle yourself socially like that? I don't even understand how you would do that.
Actually, I just came from a bar, so it's interesting that you say that. And I couldn't have a conversation with anyone because they had their head knee-deep into their cell phone. That's the new normal, and I don't have a cell phone, so I can't, like, text to the person sitting next to me, hey, girl, how you doing? I don't do that. But that's what they do. So I don't even have a conversation with people.
Hey, man, are you knocking a man for the pursuit of pussy? Really?
No, I'm all up for that. See, we agree on that. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
But when it comes to the other stuff, it's like you're always agreeing to disagree. That's all.
No, it's not that I always
I don't understand why you'd want to call in. Why would you want to go talk to someone where you're always agreeing to disagree? I just don't get that.
But can I just say something?
Obviously, you missed the whole first half of the conversation. There was a few things that we did agree on, but like I said, I like to hear.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know you agreed on. I didn't hear one thing that you guys agreed on, so I apologize.
Because I think
the hour that I listened in, I heard nothing but a disagreement. That's all.
You choose to hear what you want. That's why.
Okay. I'm sorry. What did you say? That was a joke. That was a joke. You just said I agree to listen. Whatever. If
I wasn't taking my last swig of beer, dude, I would have laughed at that one, dude. I was drinking over here, but yeah, that was pretty funny. But either way,
I got a joke for your black guy, right?
Oh, here we go.
I got a good racial joke for you. Ready? You ready?
I'm good on it, man. You can keep that, man. I'm good.
All right, are you ready?
No, I'm not interested.
No, come on,
Like,
it's really funny. I guarantee you'll say this one tomorrow at work.
I guarantee I won't. I'm not interested.
All right. I'll wait till you leave.
But yeah, man, if I'm messing up your experience that much, man, I'll just listen. So y'all can go and continue the conversation, man. Like I said, I'm not here to fuck up somebody's conversation.
The guy from Atlanta?
What's up, man?
What's your name?
Naj, man.
Naj? You have a talk show?
It's a sports talk show. Yeah.
Oh, it's a sports one? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I was wondering because, I mean, honestly, me just being kind of like the third party here, just kind of chilling and playing, not necessarily referee, but almost spectator. Like, I don't see anything wrong with this talk show. And Mark, I mean, I listen to you all the time. I listen to you all the time. I feel like one of the great things about talk show is that we can, listen to different opinions. It's not like he came on here with the agenda of disproving anything we were saying. It just was a random conversation that he just happened to share a different view on, and he never shot down anything. Like, he never said anything about, like, no, you're wrong, Chris, this is how it is. He was just saying, like, no, I see what you're saying, but I kind of think it's like this. And I agree with you on this. I mean, I thought it was very diplomatic, and I didn't see anything suspicious or anything bad about what Naj said at all. I was enjoying the conversation. I thought it was pretty cool because, I mean, he made me think about things I wasn't really thinking about, and, I mean, maybe it happened vice versa with Chris, and, I mean, maybe they introduced new things to each other.
Who knows, next week I might be on a different position from listening to you guys on certain things, man. That's the way real conversations are supposed to work.
But there's something that I've left out, which is I've heard you multiple times. In fact, last time you were on Aaron Berg's broadcast for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same thing on Aaron's, and Aaron was frustrated with you as it is here.
Aaron just invited me to come on his show next week, man. You're lying.
I know.
You're lying. I just got an invite for to be the guest on his show next week.
I know,
you're lying. I'm telling you.
What am I lying about now?
You just said Aaron was having a hard time. It's not true.
Okay. You might want to go listen
just
back
invited
to the
me to be the host, to be the guest on his show next week.
All right, let me tell you something about Aaron. Aaron has invited me to be a guest host, and he disagrees with everything that I say.
Which means he's doing a good job of hosting.
No,
he's willing to bring on somebody he disagrees with. That's good.
Well, I stay away from the word. I stay away from the word show. We don't. When we do these calls, I'm talking for myself again. When I do these calls, it is not a show. It is not entertainment. Although there is a little bit involved in it. We like to tell a joke or two, but we talk about solutions. That's not a show. That's called a talk. We do talks, and it's not fair on my call. I don't have anyone who calls in who's going to disagree with half the things that I say. It's like, hey, if you're going to disagree with what I say, why are you even listening to me?
If somebody's listening to you, they must think something you're saying is interesting.
That's correct.
I turned on Talk Shoe. I heard Chris and these other guys talking. Like, shit, okay, this one sounds interesting. I listened for a while, then I called in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was sitting there for a minute on mute because I was just listening. That's what people do, man. I mean, like I said, I don't know what your big problem is with me, man, but that's your own thing, man. I don't know you, so I can't get that emotionally riled up about you, man. I don't know why you're so riled up about it.
I feel like the undertone is like...
If Chris didn't want me on, he could tell me at any time, like, yo, dude, I don't want you on my show, don't call in. And I can understand that. If that's how he felt, that's his choice. It's his show.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree.
Well, I want to say
no, agree to disagree. You're talking for somebody else, just like you tried to talk for Aaron and lied on the man. Somebody said,
"What are you talking?" Wait, hold on. I don't. Why you keep saying that I lied? I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm telling you, you lied.
What? Tell me what I lied about. I want to defend myself.
You said Aaron had a problem with me being on his show.
No. I said he disagrees with everything that you bring up.
That's not true either. Ask him.
Go listen to
replay the show.
I'm the only one who listens to Aaron Berg.
Replay the show. That's not what happened.
All right.
Replay
no, you
the show.
said what Mark said
I think personally
was that Aaron Berg got annoyed with Naj.
We were definitely more on point together as far as racial stuff than
well, that's the new Aaron Berg. See, that's the new improved Aaron Berg, is that he's on this white supremacy kick.
Yeah,
but I'm saying when it talks about...
I think right now you have a problem with something I said about race, and you're doing this passive-aggressive shit right now to where you're
talking about race, and that's why it's brought up the joke, is that that's all divide and conquer, and I'm not into that.
See, that's the problem with some people, man. Of course it looks like divide and conquer for you because you're not the one being attacked. It's not on you. So
this is why I get really pissed off with this is why I get pissed off with Aaron and people who claim that slavery has to do with skin color. We're all slaves. It doesn't matter what skin color we are. I have huge issues with Aaron.
Race until you came on, Mark.
If you think wage slavery is the same as slavery, then you're out of your mind, man. These are not the same things. You're touching on things lightly because you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, were you there to witness? As Aaron always says, I wasn't there to know. Were you there to know what happened when slavery was in full force?
No, I wasn't.
And neither was I. So how do you know what happened?
Hold on. When have you heard me talk about slavery as a topic?
You just tried to compare. You tried to compare my slavery to your slavery.
I did compare because what you said was stupid. That's dumb.
Okay. Here we go.
You're gonna compare wage slavery to something where people didn't have a name. People were cattle. You're gonna compare those two. That's stupid, man.
Are you going to disagree that there were black slave owners?
Yes, there were.
Okay, so then what do you think about that?
Man, this is the silly shit. That's
I hate name calling when you don't have an answer for something. I've heard you talk before, man.
If you let me talk, I'll tell you. Basically, it's like this. You said, okay, there were black slave owners. Okay, there are white people who get beat up by the police, who experience police brutality. Is it the same type of numbers? Is it the same type of percentages? No.
Okay, that gets back to the media.
To compare the two things is silly. That's all I'm trying to get you to understand. Like right now, you throw that out like it's an equivalent. Well, there were black slave owners.
No.
How many?
No. I said that slavery doesn't. That skin color doesn't have a monopoly on the slavery. That's what I'm saying.
Dude,
that's what I'm saying.
Like I said, once again, there are things that you've studied and and there are other things that you haven't studied that you don't know. Like right now, you're talking about, there were other slaves besides blacks. Of course there were. But there weren't slaves who set up a system called capitalism. That's a totally different thing. Totally different thing.
So who set up capitalism?
You tell me, man. You tell me.
Dude, where did this
sure as hell wasn't me.
What happened here, man?
But like I said, man, this is turned into a one-on-one on this man's show. I prefer to leave it alone. If you want to have this conversation, we can do this later on in the week, just me and you, and we can really get into this, man. Because I think at this point, I touched the nerve somewhere talking about something with race with you, and you have a problem with me, so you come on this show talking this little sucker shit today. We can set it up another time. We can.
I'm really not interested in setting up another time.
I bet you're not, because it's a subject you don't know anything about. Yet you choose to open your mouth.
I'll talk about it all day long right now, if you'd like. But to bring it up again, there's no winners when it's going the way it is right now. It just bugs the hell out of me when there's like Aaron Berg with this white supremacy shit. It's bullshit.
Of course it bugs you. Of course it
bugs
you.
Why does it bug me? Why does it bug me?
Dude, guys,
because you obviously have a problem with it. If you have no damn dog in the fight, no experience dealing with it, and you're not a person perpetuating it, why would you even be emotionally invested in it? Like if one of the hosts on here and somebody said something about elite white people doing such and such, if you're not one of those people, why would that bother you? That's like somebody saying black drug dealer. Why would that bother me? If I'm just a regular 9-to-5 dude, why would that bother me? You see what I'm saying?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Hurt dogs holler, man. I'll take it to a southern term for you. Hurt dogs holler. So
Never
if you
heard
got
that.
some type of issue with it, it's probably because of something in your own mentality or something you've done in your own life. That's your problem, not mine.
I need to break in here real quick.
Sorry about that, Chris.
The call may be ended abruptly because there's lightning here, and I usually get power surges. So just letting y'all know if that happens, then what happened.
Hey, can we talk about like something related to? I mean, this whole thing got derailed, and I remember before I called in, Chris, I remember you guys talking about like, oh, as long as nobody calls in and just totally please don't derail. And I mean, it's just like now we're talking about some crazy shit and some race war stuff, dude. That I mean, this kind of sucks, dude. I mean, this is kind of lame. I don't know.
Actually, what I'm trying to show that it's divide and conquer, and that when we have someone like Aaron Berg sitting there and talking about white supremacy this, white supremacy that, he is trying to start these type of issues, and that's why I talked about Martin Luther King being a Freemason. So, that is so important to talk about.
So in order to show that people can be divisive and start divide and conquer things, you come into a conversation that was pretty much free-flowing and derail it into something else and then blame the other people.
Then you know what?
Amazing.
Then I'll hang up, and you continue to agree to disagree with Chris on every topic that I heard about. That's all. I was just calling in to try to see if I can help out, and obviously I made it worse.
Amazing. Because the show is only good if it's up to your standards. I thought the man whose show it was decided whether it was going the way he wanted.
Chris can talk for himself. He can jump in and say anything he wants.
Well, I was waiting for y'all to settle this dispute or whatever. I don't. Well, I mean, what are we talking about here? What is the exact beef that y'all have with each other? I don't know, but I mean,
there is no. I don't know the guy.